That night, Lila couldn't sleep. The note was still on her desk, next to her lamp. She stared at it for hours, the red ink like dried blood under the light. Ridgewood High looked perfect from the outside. Tall, red brick walls, perfectly trimmed hedges, and banners that read, "Home of the Ridgewood Ravens." But perfection, as everyone would learn, was the school's favorite disguise. On Monday morning, the sun glared through the windows of room 204, the history class where stories of dead kings and fallen empires were told. It was the kind of morning that made everything look normal, until it wasn't. At the back of the room sat Lila Hayes, quiet, observant, and new to Ridgewood. She'd been at the school only 3 weeks, long enough to learn that silence was a safer language than words. But today, silence came with company. As she reached for her notebook, something slid across her desk. A folded square of lined paper. At first, she thought it was an assignment note, a schedule change maybe. But when she unfolded it, her breath stopped. "You don't belong here. Leave before Friday." Her heart pounded. She looked around, but everyone seemed normal. Ethan Brooks, the football captain, was laughing 2 rows ahead. Maddie Clark, Ridgewood's queen bee, whispered something to her best friend. Nobody looked her way. She folded the note again and slipped it into her bag, her fingers trembling. By lunch, it had almost started to feel like a bad joke, until she opened her locker. Inside, taped to the back of the door, was another note. "You shouldn't have stayed." This time, the handwriting was identical. Her stomach twisted. Someone was watching her. She turned. Nothing, just the echo of her own breathing. That afternoon, the gossip started. A rumor about a missing girl from Ridgewood, Sophie Keller, a senior cheerleader, and Maddie's best friend. No one had seen her since Friday night. By Tuesday, her locker was sealed with yellow tape. The principal made an announcement about privacy and ongoing police cooperation. The halls buzzed with whispers. Lila didn't know Sophie, but the connection was too sharp to ignore. Friday. That was the deadline on her note. That evening, she walked home alone. The streetlights flickered as she passed the football field. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "You're next." She froze. No one was behind her, no footsteps, no sound. But she could feel eyes somewhere, watching. She ran home. The next morning, Ridgewood felt heavier. Posters of Sophie Keller's smiling face were pinned to every wall. Missing since Friday. Last seen leaving the Ridgewood gym. At her locker, Lila found no note this time, just an uneasy quiet. Then Ethan Brooks appeared beside her. "Hey, you okay?" "You look like you saw a ghost," he said, trying to smile. She hesitated. "Did you hear about Sophie?" His expression shifted, something between guilt and fear. "Yeah, we used to date." She didn't know what to say. He walked off before she could ask more. That's when she noticed something strange. The handwriting on Sophie's missing person poster, the one that said "Reward for Information," looked familiar. The same slanted R's, the same crooked letters, just like the note. By Wednesday, the school was swarming with police. Students whispered theories: runaway, kidnapping, revenge. But by lunch, another rumor hit. Someone had found Sophie's phone in the dumpster behind the gym. It had one unsent message: "He knows." The cafeteria went silent when they heard. That night, Lila couldn't sleep. The note was still on her desk, next to her lamp. She stared at it for hours, the red ink like dried blood under the light. Then something made her freeze. The handwriting wasn't random. It wasn't anonymous. She'd seen it before, in the school's front office, on the wall calendar, signed under Mr. Turner, the history teacher. He looked ordinary, mid-30s, clean suit, kind eyes. But there was something off, the way he locked the classroom door before lessons, the way he sometimes watched students longer than he should. After class, she lingered. "Mr. Turner, do you ever send messages to students?" He smiled faintly. "Only grades and reminders, Miss Hayes." "Why?" She forced a laugh. "No reason." But when he turned away, she noticed a red pen in his pocket, the same color as the note. That night she couldn't shake it. the missing girl, the handwriting, the teacher with the red pen. She pulled out her phone and searched. Ridgewood High missing student 5 years ago. An article appeared. Grainy photo, same school banner, same gym. Headline: Local student found dead after school event. Case ruled suicide. The student's name? Hannah Turner, Mr. Turner's sister. And that's when she knew this wasn't random. Someone wanted her gone because she was getting close to something Ridgewood High had buried long ago. And Sophie Keller wasn't the first. Ridgewood High had changed overnight. Students whispered in corners, their laughter hollow. The cheerleaders, usually loud and untouchable, avoided Lila's gaze as she passed. Every glance she received carried suspicion. Or was it fear? In the library, she opened the school's old archives, dust rising from yellowed pages. Yearbooks from 5 years ago revealed the same cheerful faces, the same sports trophies, the same perfect school veneer. And then, the photograph of Hannah Turner. A folded piece of paper fell from between the pages. Heart racing, Lila picked it up. Stop looking, or you'll be next. Her hands trembled. This time, the note didn't feel like a prank. By Wednesday evening, she had started mapping the connections. Sophie's last known movements, Hannah's death, Mr. Turner's odd behaviors, it all intertwined. Ethan Brooks appeared unexpectedly at the library door. Hey, you've been disappearing into these books all day. Are you okay? Lila hesitated. She wanted to tell him everything but feared putting anyone else at risk. I'm fine. Just curious about school history, she muttered. His eyes narrowed. Curious can get dangerous here. The next day, a new note appeared in Lila's locker. Meet me tonight. Gym, alone. Panic surged through her veins. The gym, dark, echoing, and isolated. This was no longer a harmless game. At lunch, she tried to get answers from Maddie Clark. Maddie's perfectly painted nails tapped on her phone screen. You've been acting weird all week, Maddie said, not looking up. I just found some old files about missing students, Lila whispered. Maddie froze. Her eyes darted toward the hall. Careful. Some things aren't meant to be found, she hissed. Night fell. Rain splattered against the school windows as Lila stepped into the gym. The echo of her own footsteps bounced off the empty bleachers. The gym smelled of damp wood and old varnish. A figure emerged from the darkness. Ethan. You shouldn't be here alone, he said, voice low. It's not safe. Before she could respond, a shadow moved behind the basketball hoop. Lila froze. From the corner, a note slid across the floor. She bent to pick it up. You're too close. Stop now or join her. Her blood ran cold. Sophie, Hannah. Were there others? Over the next 2 days, the school atmosphere grew oppressive. Teachers seemed distracted, students whispered louder, and the principal avoided eye contact. Lila couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Every time she turned a corner, shadows seemed to linger too long. Even her reflection in the locker mirrors seemed different, anxious, strained. She started noticing patterns. Notes were only delivered when she was alone, in the library, in the hallway after classes, at night when cleaning crews had left. Whoever was sending them knew her movements perfectly. One afternoon, Lila returned from the cafeteria to find the library doors locked. Inside, a small envelope lay on the table, addressed to her. She tore it open. Check the cameras. You'll see why this matters. A USB stick. Her heart pounded as she inserted it into her laptop. Video footage played. Security cameras showing Sophie in the hallway on Friday night, walking calmly, until a shadowy figure appeared behind her. Sophie spun, screamed, and the video cut to black. Lila's stomach dropped. Whoever had sent the notes had been tracking Sophie, and now tracking her. The next morning, Lila noticed something disturbing. Her locker door had been scratched. A single word. Run. She ran straight to Ethan. Look at this, she shouted, showing him the word carved in the metal. Ethan took a deep breath. It's bigger than we thought, he admitted. This isn't just a game. It's someone trying to cover up the past. Ridgewood has secrets. dangerous ones. Lila's mind raced. She thought of the yearbook, the security footage, Hannah Turner, Sophie Keller, and Mr. Turner. Something clicked. She remembered the red pen in his pocket from earlier that week. She returned to the history classroom after school. The room smelled faintly of chalk and old paper. She approached Mr. Turner's desk. "Do you know anything about Sophie?" she asked cautiously. He froze, then smiled faintly, hiding his unease. "I only know what everyone else knows," he said. But as he turned, a red pen slid from his sleeve to the floor. By Thursday, the notes had escalated. Someone had been in her room at home, her window unlocked, books moved, another note slipped under her door. Tomorrow, final chance. Panic and adrenaline gripped her. She called Ethan. "I can't do this alone." "I'll be there," he said. "We'll figure this out." That night, the school was empty except for the two of them. Lila and Ethan crept into the gym, heartbeats loud in the silent room. They found the last note pinned to the basketball hoop. "Look closely. You'll understand." Attached was a photograph. Lila's stomach sank. It was a photo from 5 years ago, the year Hannah Turner had died. But something was different. In the crowd of students, she saw herself. Or someone exactly like her. The gym was empty, echoing every step Lila took as she and Ethan approached the photograph pinned to the wall. The image was grainy, black and white, but the details were undeniable. Among the crowd from 5 years ago, someone looked exactly like Lila. Ethan's jaw tightened. "Do you see what I see?" Lila nodded, her stomach twisting. "It's me, but I wasn't born yet." "That's impossible." Her mind raced. Ridgewood High had secrets, deep ones, and someone had been orchestrating this for years. The following day, whispers filled the halls. Students who had ignored her before now avoided her completely. Lila and Ethan met in the library, poring over old yearbooks, newspapers, and student files. "There's a pattern," Ethan said, pointing to the missing students over the past decade. Hannah Turner, Sophie Keller. Every time someone tried to dig too deep, they disappeared or got silenced. Lila shivered. Then these notes, they weren't random. Someone's been warning us or maybe testing us. The thought made her stomach turn. Whoever was behind the notes was methodical, patient, watching, waiting for the right moment to strike. By Thursday afternoon, Lila noticed another clue, a security pass left in her locker. She swiped it through the card reader in the school office and discovered something chilling, hidden security footage. She watched herself walking the halls, unaware of being filmed. Then Ethan appeared beside her shoulder, whispering, "They're tracking us. Someone inside the school is orchestrating this." Lila's eyes widened. It can't be a student. Not alone. Too many cameras, too much access. Ethan nodded grimly. "Think bigger." Staff, administration. That evening, Lila stayed late after school, determined to find answers. The hallways were silent. Every locker, every classroom seemed to watch her. She passed the principal's office. The light was on. Curiosity and fear drove her to peek inside. Suddenly, the door clicked behind her. She spun, Ethan, standing tensely, eyes scanning the empty hallway. "You think she's involved too?" Lila asked. "Definitely." "And she's hiding more than anyone suspects," he whispered. Friday morning, the final note arrived. Taped to the front of the classroom door, it was larger this time. Bold letters, unmistakable. "It's time to face the truth." The entire school felt heavier that day. Teachers spoke in clipped sentences. Students whispered in corners, eyes darting. Even the janitor seemed nervous as he wheeled his cart through the hallways. Lila and Ethan agreed to meet after school in the gym again, the place where everything had begun. When they arrived, the gym was empty. Then a figure stepped from the shadows. "Finally," said a voice, calm and chilling. Lila froze. It was Maddie Clark. But not the Maddie everyone knew. Her expression was different, calculating, unreadable. "You've been asking questions," she said. "Curiosity can be dangerous." Ethan stepped in front of Lila. "Maddie? What is this?" She smiled faintly. Maddie doesn't exist. At least, not fully. I'm someone who's been inside Ridgewood for years, watching, guiding, and correcting mistakes. Lila's heart raced. What do you mean? You've been testing you, the figure replied. The notes, the disappearances, all of it was part of a system. Ridgewood doesn't forget. It doesn't forgive. And it certainly doesn't let secrets fester. Then came the twist, the revelation that would change everything. This school, your life, Sophie, Hannah, none of it is what it seems, the figure continued. You've been interacting with people who aren't real. The real Ridgewood, the Ridgewood that matters, is hidden beneath layers you were never meant to see. Lila's stomach sank. What are you saying? The figure pointed to the photographs of the past students, including the one that looked like her. You, Miss Hayes, are the final piece. Someone like you has been planted here before, and the notes were a test, to see if you were ready to take your place, or be removed. Ethan's face paled. This can't be real. It's very real, Maddie said, her calm demeanor terrifying. And soon, you'll understand why Ridgewood keeps its secrets hidden at all costs. The lights flickered and went out. The gym was plunged into darkness. Lila felt a hand brush her shoulder. Ethan whispered, "We have to move." But when they turned, the figure was gone. All that remained was a final note taped to the hoop. The next chapter begins now, and only one of you will leave. Lila and Ethan didn't sleep that night. They stayed in her room, poring over every document, photograph, and scrap of information they had gathered. Think about it, Ethan said, voice low. The notes, the disappearances, the fake Maddie. Someone inside this school has been controlling everything for years. Lila nodded. It's more than just someone controlling students. It's manipulation, surveillance, threats, maybe even placement. She stopped on the photograph of Hannah Turner. Something clicked. These students weren't chosen randomly. They were groomed. The next day, Ridgewood High seemed normal again. Bright sunlight, students bustling in the hallways, the usual chatter. But Lila knew better. She and Ethan walked to the library, careful to avoid cameras, teachers, and students who might be complicit. Every step felt like walking on a minefield. Inside the archives, Lila pulled out the security footage again. She rewound it, frame by frame. That's when she noticed something she hadn't seen before. A shadow moving with Sophie in the hallways. But it wasn't a student or teacher. The shadow moved too deliberately, almost like it was guiding her. Ethan's eyes widened. It's someone else. Someone invisible. Someone trusted. Someone with access, Lila whispered. Someone the whole school believes is safe. The breakthrough came when they cross-referenced old staff files. The pattern was undeniable. The principal herself, Principal Reed, had been at Ridgewood during every incident, every disappearance, every accident. She's been orchestrating it all, Ethan said. This isn't just a school. It's a testing ground. Lila's stomach turned. Why me? Because you're the last piece, Ethan replied. You fit the profile perfectly. That's why the notes came to you. By Friday afternoon, Lila couldn't avoid the inevitable. She had to confront Principal Reed. She and Ethan snuck into the empty office, the hum of the fluorescent lights making the room feel alive. Principal Reed, Lila called out. The principal's chair swiveled slowly. Her calm demeanor was chilling, her eyes sharp and calculating. You've been asking questions, Reed said softly. Curiosity is dangerous. But I see you've come this far. What is this? Why the notes? Sophie. Hannah. Why? Lila demanded. Reed leaned back, a faint smile curling. Ridgewood High doesn't make mistakes. Every student here is observed, guided, corrected. Those who defy the system are removed. And the notes? Ethan interjected, voice tense. They were warnings, Reed said, to see if you were capable of surviving. Only one of you was ever meant to leave Ridgewood with the truth intact. That night, Lila and Ethan returned to the gym, the final battleground. The figure of Maddie appeared again. So predictable, she said. But this time, Reed entered behind her, confirming their suspicion. You underestimated us, Reed said calmly, but now you see, Ridgewood doesn't just teach history. It teaches survival. The twist hit Lila like a punch. Maddie, Principal Reed. The entire system had been testing her, observing her, manipulating her every step. Sophie Keller and Hannah Turner were never accidents. They were the last lessons before Lila. Only one could survive, only one could leave knowing the truth. The figure of Maddie appeared again. So predictable, she said. But this time, Reed entered behind her, confirming their suspicion. You underestimated us, Reed said calmly. But now you see, Ridgewood doesn't just teach history, it teaches survival. The twist hit Lila like a punch. Maddie, Principal Reed. The entire system had been testing her, observing her, manipulating her every step. Sophie Keller and Hannah Turner were never accidents. They were the last lessons before Lila. Only one could survive. Only one could leave knowing the truth. The confrontation escalated. Lila realized she had to act fast. Using the knowledge they had gathered from the files, she led Ethan to the hidden surveillance room. Cables, monitors, and blinking lights filled the space. She disabled the system just as Reed and Maddie entered, their expressions morphing from calm to shock. You can't stop this, Reed hissed. Yes, I can, Lila said, voice firm, heart racing. I've seen the truth. And I'm not afraid anymore. By the final moments, the gym erupted in chaos. Shadows moved, echoes filled the room, and the figures of Reed and Maddie lunged toward Lila and Ethan. But through quick thinking and courage, the two teenagers escaped, leaving behind the corrupted system that had haunted Ridgewood High for years. Lila and Ethan crouched behind a row of abandoned lockers, catching their breath. The rain had slowed to a drizzle, but the chill in the air mirrored the fear that still gripped them. They were testing me, Lila whispered. Every note, every disappearance. It was all to see if I could survive Ridgewood. Ethan nodded grimly. And the system, it's bigger than we imagined. Ridgewood isn't just a school, it's a machine. It molds students, discards them, repeats the cycle. Suddenly, a light flickered inside the principal's office. Lila's eyes widened. That's it, she said. The proof. We need to see everything. They slipped through a side door into the office. Monitors lined the walls, each displaying footage from the school's hidden cameras. Every classroom, every hallway, every locker. They saw students being watched, guided, manipulated. Sophie Keller, Hannah Turner, and countless others. And then they saw her. The real Maddie Clark, not the girl they had confronted. This Maddie had been missing for years. The figure posing as Maddie had been an operative, a carefully planted enforcer of Ridgewood's rules. The realization hit them like a thunderbolt. Everything they had experienced, the notes, the threats, the disappearances, had been orchestrated. They weren't just testing students, they were creating successors. Principal Reed stepped into the room behind them, calm as ever. You've seen too much, she said, but it's time you understood. Ridgewood doesn't forgive mistakes. It doesn't forgive curiosity, and it certainly doesn't forgive weakness. Ethan stepped forward. You killed Sophie. You covered up Hannah. We know everything. Reed smiled faintly. Sophie, Hannah, they were never meant to survive their lessons. But you've shown promise. That's why the notes came to you, to prepare you for your role. Lila froze. My role? You will take their place, Reed said. You will maintain the system, ensure Ridgewood's legacy continues. A deafening crash interrupted them. The office window shattered. Ethan grabbed Lila, pulling her behind the desk. Outside, fog swirled around the real Maddie, watching silently. You don't understand, Maddie said softly, her voice like a whisper in the wind. They've controlled this town for decades. Ridgewood doesn't end with the school. It spreads. And now, you're part of it whether you like it or not. Lila's mind raced. There was no way to fight this head-on, but she refused to give in. She grabbed the red pen from Reed's desk, the same one that had delivered the notes, and held it tight. With a sudden burst of courage, she hurled the pen at the monitors. Sparks flew. The surveillance system shut down. Reed and Maddie screamed in unison, their voices echoing through the dark office. The final moments were a blur of rain, chaos, and adrenaline. Lila and Ethan ran through the empty school halls, hearing shouts and the echo of footsteps behind them. Doors locked automatically, alarms blared, but somehow they made it out, emerging into the foggy morning, gasping, soaked, and alive. Outside, the town looked deceptively normal. Children walked to school, neighbors chatted, cars passed. Ridgewood High sat behind them, a silent monolith, holding its secrets close. Lila looked at Ethan. "It's not over," she said. "They'll try again." "Ridgewood doesn't stop," Ethan nodded. "But at least now we know. And we'll be ready." Ridgewood High isn't just a school, it's a long-running system designed to manipulate, control, and replace students. The notes, the disappearances, the threats, all were part of a decades-long experiment. Lila survives, but she now knows that Ridgewood's influence is far-reaching, leaving the story open for the chilling possibility that the cycle continues. Kindly subscribe, like, and comment to watch more.